date, to the best of my knowledge, I've been at Lawrence General a year and a half now. We've never had a security and privacy breach. That's not to say we haven't had some near misses, but I put those near misses in the bucket of kind of preventative and pre-education that we've been able to get out to staff and folks to really help augment any real risks that would come down. So, as I think most people in the healthcare industry realize, that your biggest risk is your own community and employee base, and so we like to get them at the door, so to speak. And so through HR and onboarding, all the employees that come through Lawrence General are given a really robust and detailed education and literature on the importance of privacy and security and PHI, and what does that mean for you personally in terms of the devices that you may be giving, your password, the password best practice authentications around the complexity of those passwords, and best practices around not to give those passwords out to coworkers. And so we do immediate and ongoing education that's continuous and up to date throughout the organization. Over the course of this last year, we've started off with a very IS-specific security group. And what's happened over time is that's grown throughout the organization, where it's much more collaborative. So we have representation from other committees and leaders throughout the entire organization, from the clinical side, fiscal side, nursing side, privacy. So it's really management representation in order to ensure we're all on the same page, we're all staying on track and up to par with the latest securities and policies, procedures, and best practices. And then we're able to educate and disseminate to the leaders, who then filter that down to the employees throughout the organization. Well, currently, yes, all the Lawrence General devices that we deploy to employees are encrypted. And so you raise a very, I think, real and important point around the economies of scale around devices within the hospital and providing those to employees and practitioners. And so at Lawrence General, we have a pretty contained amount of folks that we supply devices to, and that is expected to grow. And so I think for organizations like ourselves and others who are going to find themselves in this position around just this general proliferation of devices and trying to manage that, I do think there's going to have to be some very interesting questions that are going to have to be raised around the subsidy models. So I can tell you right now at Lawrence General, we have a very high subsidy model. So folks, for example, who have an iPhone or a BlackBerry, we tend to pay the voice and the data for that. But I can see in the future world, based on what you're saying, around the increased costs around securing these devices, the labor associated with the management and the IT, that we're going to have to come up with new ways on how to subsidize that. And that literally might translate into, as opposed to paying for the device in the full subsidy model around data and text, it might just be data. And so in that model, your per device cost per year may go from $1,000 to $1,500, all the way down to $200 to $300. And so that way you're able to supply more devices to the end users, hopefully creating a broader net of satisfaction to the employees, yet at the same time being very cost conscious about making sure you have all the infrastructure in place to support it. Well, the good news is we started an initiative several months ago around really going through the organization, both in IT and in different departments throughout Lawrence General, doing really a top-to-bottom sweep of what are all of our agreements in place, and really proactively working with our vendors. And so, you know, we're in a very good spot right now. I would say we have a few outliers and things that we need to brush up, but from a general risk perspective, we feel very comfortable. We felt like most of the major vendors that we worked with did a very good job, some even being proactive and working very collaboratively with us on the BA agreements and how that affects both parties. So we feel very good about that.